Hi, I'm Mary Brody, and I'm the author of Revenue or Relationships Win Both. In-person conversations are deliciously messy, and that's why they're so effective. Conversations naturally allow space for people to express emotions and immediately respond to someone's thoughts and intentions. They're often spontaneous responses which aren't fully thought through. They don't allow time for crafted messaging, but it's that spontaneity in itself that gives them power and meaning. And although it's counterintuitive, space for nonsense in conversations is endearing to both customers and employees. That's where people can experience each other's true personalities, their true selves, and fully express their emotions. And this is why in-person conversations really do allow for true connection. It's not about the facts. It's about emotional engagement and how people feel after an exchange. Again, it goes against our logical understanding of the world, but structured flows and linear thinking won't necessarily help anyone establish a conversation, never mind build a relationship. People don't share neatly packaged groups of facts. You get what they give through banter and trial and error. And again, it's messy, but that's how people communicate. Now, digital methods like text messages and live chat and emails provide us with a way to have edited conversation, trying not to be messy, but direct, polite, and to the point. And although it feels streamlined and effective, it doesn't provide the type of emotional connection that we really need to build a relationship. We don't always understand intentions or motivations through such types of messages, unless we're going to be using emojis or someone understands our unique lexicon to express specific ideas or feelings. It is only through spoken words and the tone of voice someone uses and his or her facial expressions that emotional connection is truly possible. But the electronic forms of in-person conversations do provide us with entry to live conversations, mainly because there's a person present behind that digital interaction. And that person, although he or she is editing the conversation, can help customers with solutions. They can help them brainstorm ideas, and they can collaborate. And if electronic media becomes just too cumbersome to communicate effectively, then he or she can transition to the digital conversation into a phone call, a video conference, or even a live meeting. A bot doesn't accommodate a large range of choices and topics in conversation like a live person can. Often it's the live person who will get the desired result in any business conversation. In-person conversations are a great communication methods for topics that allow multiple unexpected paths or cover a large range of perspectives. Now, we can't forget that people build relationships and do business together on behalf of their companies. And let's face it, conversations are an integral part of that process. They existed for centuries before websites and apps and were the original business communication medium. They're the basis for automated conversation methods that we use today in our communications. Now, to be clear, this video is not an insights video where you can discover the connection between ideas to get a revelation or an epiphany. It really is a resource video to guide you when you're creating your plans. It will provide instruction about what these types of conversation experiences are, how to use them, and how to measure their effectiveness. Now, this video includes information found in the book, Revenue or Relationships Win Both, to guide you in using different communication methods to achieve your goals as defined in your customer relationship lifecycle strategy. And that's going to help you build better customer relationships. Now, in-person conversations represents one of 4 quadrants that I outline. And the quadrant chart presents how you can look at communication approaches as conversation methods to engage customers and build customer relationships in business. Now, you could say that this quadrant is going to help you develop a content or custom communication strategy, because what is content but a way to have a virtual conversation with a customer? The quadrant defines these conversation methods using 2 axes. Now, on one axis, we map the delivery method of a communication, and that could be anything between an in-person conversation and interaction or an automated digital experience. And on the other axis, We map if an experience more closely resembles a more interactive experience that requires action with a person or a system or a product or service. Or maybe there's an interaction between only two people, a person and a system. And that other side allows for a more personalized experience. Now, in-person conversations are some of the most effective ways for a customer to get answers to direct questions that may or may not be supported through self-service methods. These questions may arise during research in an automated digital experience or an automated conversation. It could happen after a product trial or demo, or there could be some other experience as the spark to make this happen. But in this method, the customer can access a company representative to guide the conversation, and both can collaborate to resolve an issue. Now, often the customer initiates the conversation. Sometimes the company does. But the customer initiates it, creating an experience with the company. And this makes in-person conversations a much more intimate approach than online methods. Now, as discussed earlier, emotions can be easily expressed, communicated, and understood in this medium, increasing connection and intimacy between the people involved. This more easily builds empathy and therefore compassion between your customers and employees. And in the end, this builds trust with your company. Now, similar to the automated conversation, a customer can get a response to his or her specific situation. However, in this case, it's not a generalized experience. The employee helps the customer establish priorities and values regarding the problems in their lives to better understand how the company's solution could help them best. Now, in-person conversations can occur through the company, through influencers, or through customers. Influencers and customers are supporting word-of-mouth marketing methods. Now, some examples of these activities for both company and customer-generated conversations include phone calls, emails or texts, live chat, and in-person discussions, or even meetings. Conversations allow a customer the freedom to express themselves and their needs without worrying whether or not their question is supported by a system, or if they need to find an answer in a forum or a database or on a site or just somewhere else. There are no limits to how a communication can evolve in a live conversation. As discussed previously, automated conversations are typically predefined, and they're often limited in their range of topics. However, in-person conversations can be costly because you need to have humans available to have them. And paying people to have conversations can be more expensive than maintaining a bot or a site or an app. And that's why so many times call centers get outsourced. Some managers and executives just don't see the value. But if they could see that the direct benefit conversations bring by building those closer relationships with your customers, it may be worth the cost to them. To me, in-person conversations are just priceless. You just can't have enough of them. Now, there are a few ways that we can define success after experiencing an in-person conversation. And these include customer satisfaction scoring, like Net Promoter Score, improved issue resolution, and how the conversations are leading to a sale. The measurements for this approach can include more emotional considerations than others. You could measure maybe if the customer felt that the agent or employee's response was adequate or possibly exceeded expectations, if he or she maybe thought the conversation was, just helpful, if the agent resolved the issue in a single or multiple calls, or if the agent just even seemed friendly. Now, one interesting metric for this medium is the length of time for a conversation. Now, this can be an indicator of relationship building or efficiency to resolve an issue. A conversation in person could take less time than automated conversations because you're able to get to the point faster, making it easier to answer questions and resolve issues. A conversation to build a relationship now could take much more time because you're establishing commonality and you're establishing connection before you get to solve the problem. Now, you can also consider the date of time of the conversation, the topic, and other descriptive factors to provide insight into the conversations, what the customer actually needed, and why they needed it. And understanding your customers' needs can most definitely help your company better serve them in the future through automation with products, information, transactions, and if possible, even collaboration. Now, this is where an activity like content analysis could be absolutely useful. Content analysis can provide insights into conversation types and topics by classifying the responses. Now, to do this, you could record and transcribe the conversations and then tag them in different ways to gain insights about common trends and conversation topics. And this would help you understand your customers' challenges and what they perceive as benefits of your company's solution. Yes, tagging would be involved to quantify the text and value, but you could discover what customers truly need. And you could also determine if there may be an easier way to communicate with your customers about certain topics or issues, or maybe even a better message to use. Now, with content analysis, you could also validate if the brand values are being properly communicated through word choice and tone in conversations. And deviating from a brand actually could impact a customer's experience, possibly making it inconsistent from other experiences within the company. Now, regarding qualitative metrics, you could consider inquiring about the adequacy of content topics, appropriate tone, approach taken to solve the problem, and if the resolution presented was acceptable and useful. There are already a number of types of surveys available to measure this and other factors after calls, so I'm not going to go through all these different types of measurements. There's a lot of material that already exists. Now, a learning that you can get from this conversation medium is a list of conversation topics that could be automated. You could either create a list of frequently asked questions, you could possibly develop a conversation flow and a chatbot to make it easier to access some information. You could also gather product feedback from support calls and use that information to identify features for product improvements. Conversations could inspire your team as input for research on different topics, features, or ideas for new products or services. As customers identify new problems or challenges when using your product and contact your team for help, these conversations could spark innovative ideas to emerge. In a way, it's through these conversations that you're including your customers into your company's community to be part of your company. And conversations between your employees and your customers can provide so many insights to your business and to your products and services. You just need to know how to access them to better benefit your company in the best way. Now, to build strong connections with customers, you really just need to have conversations. If your employees can't interact directly with customers, you can help your customers solve their problems and improve that connection to build a better relationship. The connection and ideas expressed during these activities help you better understand your customer needs so you can create new products and services to help them even more. Conversations provide a way for employees and customers to connect through compassion and build those necessary emotional bonds while collaborating to solve problems, which in the end create a great relationship. More to come. I hope this was helpful. Thanks and have a great day.